NAVA acknowledges the Gadigal and Wangal peoples as the traditional custodians of the land on which this was filmed, and pays respect to First Nations communities, ancestors and elders.
I'm Alfred Lowe. I'm an Arrernte artist working out of Adelaide at the APY Collective studio. I work mostly with ceramics and fibre. I do sort of figurative work that has this landscape-inspired texture and colour.
What has been a turning point in your career?
The biggest turning point in my career has been the inclusion of weaving and fibre with the ceramics. I think it helped fill this space in my head of what the final work could be. You know, ceramics is a very hard and rough material, and combining that weaving gave me this sense of like playfulness in the ceramics and like a juxtaposition to my very strong, bold work. It gives it this softness and this playfulness that I think has really changed my practice.
Are there external factors that impact your creative practice?
With ceramics particularly, you do have to think about the logistics of work, and I make a lot of pretty big work, and you know, you have to think about the reality of who's going to buy that, you know, and it's wasteful to use all of those resources to make something. You know, clay is a thing that is dug from the ground. It's literally mined, and a lot of the chemicals in glazes are all come from mines and quarries. You do have to think about the goal of the work and where you want that to end up, because otherwise it's a pretty wasteful practice. I do think of it in that terms, but not necessarily like is this marketable?
What is something you wish you knew when you were starting out as an artist?
I think the thing that I would tell myself is like not to be worried about all of that stuff, like all of the business stuff, all of the pressure. You know, it is an important part of having a sustained career, but at the end of the day, the most important part is making work and being proud of the work you make. And if you do that and you make authentic work that you're proud of, the rest will flow through, and you know, other people will recognize that and they will pick that up and it'll go from there. You can also sometimes feel pressure to make work a certain way, or make work you think will sell, or make work you think will be popular or get picked up. And, you know, you can limit yourself in that way. But I think really the goal of any artist is just to make the work that you want to make.
How has NAVA's code of practice been useful to your work as an artist?
I think one of the big things that NAVA does is give a level of like assurance to artists. You know, it can be pretty challenging, especially when you're early in your career, about, you know, how much should I be getting to do a talk, or how much should I make for a workshop, or, you know, all of those things. And NAVA really can help you get through that and realize, oh, like it's pretty simple. You know, there's a structure around how much you should pay someone or how much you should be getting paid. And it alleviates a lot of that guesswork in the arts and a lot of that pressure of being a self-employed person.
What brings you joy in your work?
The thing that I really love about ceramics that brings me the most joy is there's this moment of seeing the work after you've built it, and then you leave it to dry for a few months, and then it goes into the kiln, and it's this transformational process of putting this little object in a hot kiln to like 1280 degrees and just seeing what happens. And, you know, a week afterwards, you get to open this kiln and discover your work again. You know, it's completely changed in that process. And I think that brings the most joy. Sometimes in ceramics it's heartache, but, you know, there's good and bad in that. And you get these moments of like complete transformation in your work that you never thought could happen. And then like it's an amazing moment.